So Republicans are on a losing streak. Donald Trump told them that they would get tired of winning. They would win so much with him, they'd get tired of winning, but they just keep on losing. They lost in 2018, they lost in 2020, they lost in 2022, and they lost in 2023, and they can't figure out why. During that time, they spent most of their time talking about Hunter Biden's laptop and the Biden crime family. They cooked up every ridiculous conspiracy theory they could think of. They fought every ridiculous culture war that they could think of to distract from the fact that what they were really doing is going after human rights. They were going after women's reproductive rights. They were going after the gay and trans community. They were declaring war on the anti-woke mob. And anyone that didn't look like them, sound like them, or hold the same ideas against them, they went after those people, and they keep losing, and they can't figure out why. 9 out of 10 times when anyone loses at anything, whether it be a sports team, a fighter, or a politician, if they lose, they go back to the drawing board and they say, okay, what did we do wrong and what do we need to improve upon? How many times have you saw football coaches say, well, we're going to have to really work on our defense. We're really going to have to work on that. Or how many times have you heard a fighter say, well, I've just got to learn, I've got my footwork needs to get better. I got to establish my jab sooner. I didn't do that. Next time I get in that ring, I got to establish the jab a little bit better. You would think that Republicans would say, why aren't we connecting? Why aren't we winning? We were supposed to be winning. We've been beating this dead horse, but we just keep losing. They won't go back to the drawing board and they won't change their tune. As a matter of fact, they're doubling down even harder now. After losing an election, couldn't the thought have entered their head, maybe you pissed off a whole bunch of women? Maybe you pissed off a whole bunch of gay and trans people. Maybe you pissed off people of color. Maybe you pissed off people that didn't agree with you or didn't look like you. Maybe you need to figure out how to connect with them. Ain't that what you would think they would do? That's what I would think they would do. But no, they've subpoenaed Hunter Biden. They've subpoenaed James Biden, the president's brother. And they're considering Tucker Carlson for VP. Would he make a great vice presidential nominee? The guy that pushed all the culture wars. Yeah, that's who they want to be second in command. That's who they want to be the leader of the free world. That's who they want Trump to pass the torch to if something were to happen to him. And so I'm sitting there going, you guys didn't learn a damn thing. You see, when women went into the voting booth, they didn't give a shit about Hunter Biden's laptop. They didn't care at all about that. They cared about their reproductive rights that were stripped away. They had bigger fish to fry than Hunter Biden's laptop. And for everybody out there that's so bent out of shape over Hunter Biden, and you're trying to paint him as this big criminal, you're trying to paint him like he's Vito Corleone, okay? You're doing so that you can have this I own the libs moment. I got you. I told you he was a criminal. Let's say this. Let's say that tomorrow all the evidence comes out, and it's undeniable. No one can deny it, that Hunter Biden is as big a criminal as Vito Corleone ever dreamed. He's John Dillinger. He's all of them rolled into one. He's the biggest criminal in the history of the world, and we have all the evidence that proves it. You think you're going to own the libs with that. You think you're going to stand up and say, oh, look there, I got you. And we're going to go, cool story, bro. Fine. If he's guilty, hold him accountable. Punish him to the fullest extent of the law. We don't care because we don't worship our politicians and we don't worship their children. And we realize that Hunter Biden, at the end of the day, has nothing to do with how we live in this world. It's an entertaining news story. It's a cool story to follow, but it has no effect on you whatsoever in your life. Everything you're sitting and bitching about, everything you're bent out of shape over, has got nothing to do. Hunter Biden has nothing to do with that. He's not your president. Okay? He's the president's son. If it comes out tomorrow that he's the biggest criminal in the history of the world, it ain't going to change your life for the good at all. You're going to have a moment where you're going to go, see there, we got you, and we're going to go, no, you can get us because we're going to hold him accountable right along with you. We don't care. We realize there's bigger fish to fry. We realize that our daughters don't have the same rights that our mother had when they had us. We realize that when women don't get the reproductive health they need, their lives could be on the line. So to all you out there bent out of shape over Hunter Biden and his laptop, I want you to think long and hard about this. When you're standing over your daughter's bed and she's about to lose her life because she couldn't get the medical attention she needed, or you're standing at her grave looking down at her, I promise you the last thing that's going to be going through your mind is Hunter Biden's fucking laptop. That's the last thing you're going to be thinking about when you're standing in that spot. it ain't going to mean nothing to you then. That's why when people talk about Hunter Biden, I just go, okay, cool. When they prove it, when they bring it out, when they convict him, when they throw him in jail, when they, whatever, I don't care. I don't worship Joe Biden. I vote for him because I think he's the better person for the job. I hold him accountable too. If he done something wrong, lock him up, punish him to the fullest extent of the law. I don't care. Because there's so many bigger issues going on than all these culture wars that you've been fighting. And I know that you love fighting them. I know you love owning the libs. I know that if you hear that a liberal lost one dime, you just feel warm and fuzzy inside. But this owning the libs bullshit that you guys love to hang on to is not getting you anywhere in this life. It's not getting your daughter anywhere in this life. It's not getting your sister anywhere in this world. All the things that's getting you bent out of shape. And yeah, you like the idea of Tucker Carlson because he's the guy that sits and pushes all the bullshit. But tell me, what experience does he have at anything other than pushing propaganda? You hired a crooked businessman. You voted for a crooked businessman to run the country. You thought that would be a good idea. And now you're considering a vice presidential nominee to be a talk show host. I know you hate the word woke. I know you're not a fan of that word. But it's really high time you wake up and realize you're being played. You're being played by people who is trying to get richer. And they get richer by cooking up these culture wars and cooking up these conspiracy theories, getting you all bent out of shape. And because things aren't happening to you personally, you don't care. But you're going to care when you're standing with your daughter and she can't get the help she needs. You're going to care when your child comes out as gay or trans and you realize you love them anyway and you're going to stand by them and, wait a minute, this party I've been supporting this entire time, they don't have their best interest at heart. Everything's going to look a lot different. You got to put things into perspective. My grandpa used to tell me all the time, don't worry about that. That's nothing. My grandpa used to say something to me. I'd come home from school and I'd be like, Grandpa, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed I don't ever want to go back to school again. He'd say, what happened to you, Brando? And I'd say, well, I wore some jogging pants to school today and some boy jerked them down and the kids saw my Curious George underwear. And he would chuckle and he'd go, well, if that's the worst thing that ever happens to you, just thank the good Lord. You're talking to a guy who had been, he was at D-Day. He was there. He would have loved to have been back home getting his jogging pants pulled down in the 4th grade. So you got to realize that the reason why you're losing is because everyone else sees through the bullshit and everyone else values democracy and women's rights and human rights more so than they value you wanting to win your stupid little Bud Light culture war.